Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Directors for Monday, October 15, 2012. It is currently 7:10. Madam Secretary, call the order.
Charles Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Marvin Tell.
Here.
Francis Mesereau here. Mark Richmond.
I'm here, Lorenzo.
I got it. Colin Gosman. Absent. Gerald Miro. Thank you. Sharon P.C.O. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. On the next item, we have good and welfare. Our first speaker to come up will be Lisa Cockerham, please. Testing 1, 2. Lisa, you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. I know we're talking about the election procedure tonight, a little bit later tonight. I just want to ask, I know there's been some question of...
Lisa, I'm going to just interrupt you. We are not going to discuss this. It was inadvertently put on the agenda. We thought that we had the committee appointed. We do not. The board is going to table that until the next meeting.
Okay. Okay. I just want to suggest that, okay, because of a history of, whether it's rumors or whether it's real, of people saying there's political impropriety at the time of election, that we find a committee or people who count votes who are as unbiased as possible. I don't know how possible that is, but so that is less of a chance of it being debated afterwards with whoever loses the board in the thing.
Thank you, Lisa. We're going to take that into serious consideration. Appreciate it. We have one more. We have Oleg. Oleg, please come up.
Just a maintenance question. I've been busy at work, driving every day, 6 o'clock, 6:30. The water spouts shooting straight up water for over a week. Nothing has done. There's a tree growing on a roof straight on the corner of this building. Been for weeks. Nothing has been done. The sauna in there, the second shelf falling off. Nothing has been done in weeks. I can keep going.
Okay, sir, have you made a formal request in the office? Have you come in?
I leave at 6, and this is the earliest I can.
Do you have access to the internet?
I work.
Do you have access to the internet?
Yes, I do.
If you go to our website.
Do we have a maintenance?
Yes.
Who patrols the grounds?
Yes.
They should have known that.
Okay. Thank you.
They should be responsible, not me.
Good. After the meeting, please approach our property manager. He will take a list of the things and we'll make sure it's taken care of. Thank you. We will move on to item number 5, waive of the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion on the table?
I motion to accept, to waive the reading of the minutes for the September 10th and September 15th.
September 24th.
Okay. And what about the 15th?
They were already approved.
Yeah, it's a typo.
Oh, okay. I motion to waive the reading of the minutes for the September 24th, 2012 meeting and accept as presented.
I'll go ahead and second.
We have a seconder? Okay, any objections? Motion passed.
Tell Mark that it was corrected to show that he was present at the last meeting.
Mark, the minute meetings of the last meeting were corrected to show that you were present. Yes, sir?
I think that was the September 10th meeting that I was present at by telephone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we made that correction.
That is fine, that's
Thank you. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to the next agenda item. This is the President's message. It will be very, very brief, but very, very precise. As you well know, today is the 15th of October, and our first date of the special assessment due was on the 7th of October. And I will right now thank the many owners that have sent in their payments. However, there is a small protest group of owners that have decided not to pay the assessment. So for all of us here in the village, I want to make the association's position and procedure very, very clear if you do not pay your special assessment. This week, a courtesy letter will go out to all non-payers, reminding them that the assessment was due on the 7th of this month. If you do not respond to that letter, and you have not paid, in 30 days after the due date, your file will be turned over to the collection agency for collections. At that time, the collection agency will demand full payment, plus their fee. If, in fact, you do not respond to the collection agency's demand, then your file will be turned over to the attorney, and we will begin foreclosure procedures. At that time, we will put a lien on the property, and if you don't respond within that particular period of time, we will take title, and two things are going to happen. Number one, if there is an encumbered mortgage on your unit, we will continue the foreclosure. We will take title to your unit. We will evict you, and we will put a tenant in there and collect the full assessment. If your unit is unencumbered, no mortgage, then the association will not only take title to your unit, but will also take ownership. And the board will determine whether we will put a tenant in there or sell your unit. Now, these are very drastic measures, but it is the full consideration of this board and the association that we and those people that have paid will no longer tolerate those that do not pay. We cannot carry the burden of non-payers. And we will follow through. It is a horrible thing to do, but please be aware that we are very, very, very serious, because the consequences to the association is very, very grave. If we can't collect the assessment, we need to follow full procedure, and we will get our money. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will now move on to the next agenda item. That's the management report. Mr. Levy.
Good evening. Good evening.
Charlie,
Yes, Mark.
who's giving the manager's report?
Jason Levy, our property manager.
I'm waiting on bated breath to hear what he says. Speak loudly, Jason.
Mark, I wasn't speaking. I just got the microphone now.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Okay, the first item that I would like to talk about is something that's probably on everybody's mind is the large outdoor pool, which is in progress. Everybody can see that it's in progress, and everybody's waiting for that to be completed. The project commenced immediately after Labor Day weekend, and as they uncovered the tile from the water runoffs and the gutters, which is something that cannot be seen by any professional when it's covered, they found that the entire structure surrounding the pool was completely deteriorated and falling into itself, which is very dangerous. So what ended up having to happen, which you see out there now, which we weren't slated to do, is remove all the coping around the pool, as you can see, reform and cut all around the entire circumference of the pool. Then you have to wait for that. So sometimes you'll see people out there, sometimes you won't, because there's stages to do this. Then they have to pour the cement in, have to wait a week. Now the cement is poured. They have to wait for the cement to dry. Hopefully we don't have a lot of rain. Then they can begin the process of putting back the coping the way it was and doing the interior of the pool as everything was slated to do. What we need to understand is obviously this added about 35% to the workload of the pool. So, of course, that means, unfortunately, that it will not be open by tomorrow, as everybody would probably know, which is what we're hoping mid-October. But it looks like it will be more like the second week of November. That is when we're looking at the pool to reopen. It's not of the fault of the contractor. It's really not of the fault of anybody. When they uncovered, they found things that we just couldn't possibly know. And this is the reason why you see the pool delayed. Okay? It is more money. Yes, you're right. Okay, now, I will tell you two things. The bid that we got, which was approved, is the bid, which was a really good bid. That is what we went to contract for. If you notice, which right now we had put on hold, but if you notice, I budgeted $70,000 for the pool in your future assessment list, on the future project list. That is actually the amount it's costing, because I projected that there's going to be probably a 20 or 30% possibly, so I accounted for that, and it actually came to that exact figure. So we did account for that. We accounted for that to be where it was. So the number that you see in those special projects is actually what it's really going to cost. Because I had people asking me, if we only had to pay $57,000 or $58,000, how come you budgeted $70 in the projects? It's because this is what happens sometimes. So at least we budgeted properly for it. So that is a positive. Okay? And the company does know the extreme urgency, because I'm on the phone with them constantly. So they know that the residents are coming in every day, that we have people who are coming back from northern states that want this pool open, people who are here that want this pool open. So I want to assure everybody that we are doing everything to work as quickly as we can.
Are you sure this outfit's big enough?
I'm sorry?
Are you sure this is big enough for a pool that size? I only see two guys, one working, the other one pushing the broom.
Well, at some points you'll see 6 guys out there, which I have when I was out there. So some days you're going to see that, and some days you're not. It depends on where they are in the project. That's just how it works. Moving on to the 40-year structural inspection. They have completed the 40-year structural inspection. We do not have the complete budget numbers yet. We should have these budget numbers probably by next Friday. We'll have the budgeted numbers So we know the state of what our 12 buildings are in, and our surrounding wall, and every structure, plumbing, electric, roofing. We will see exactly where we stand for the 40-year. But they are finished and they have completed the work. Comcast has already begun to install the internet to the buildings. We're probably about, I don't know, 30 or 40% through the buildings. Doesn't mean that you have the internet yet. They hooked it up. As I described before, we need to get it so that every unit has it. We are working right now in the Edelweiss building. In that building, we have our computer technician that is doing, he has it so that it actually is working in the units. The problem is, the end units it's not working in. There's a solution to that. So he's working on the solution, I'm doing cables, and every unit will have it. Once we get this straightened out, and we're able to make sure that each unit has it, all the other buildings will go much quicker. It's the first one that takes a little time because we need to make sure everybody has a good, strong signal. Before we tell you to cancel your internet, we want to make sure you have a good signal.
We can't get on because it wants passwords.
The password, okay.
And nobody sent out anything, information on how to get on.
There's a reason. Because we're not ready yet.
Okay.
I mean, but you will have the passwords as soon as we know, after we're finished with the testing. And as a matter of fact, you're probably going to have them pretty shortly in the Edelweiss because we're going to want to know the speed as people go on it, but just not yet.
So how are you going to get the word out to us? Are you going to print something up?
We're going to print it out. It's going to go under every door.
Okay.
Yep.
We're
Okay.
going to send out an internet thing, so.
I would think email would be the way.
Well, it's going to be on the website. It's going to be, you're going to see it everywhere. Yeah. Okay. The water conservation project, we have completed the St. Moritz, the Interlaken, Heidelberg, Edelweiss, and we have already started in the Zurich. We have changed out many flapper valves. We've fixed a lot of people's little leaks here and there. There's been a lot of things. People whose units that we've been on know exactly what I'm speaking of. It's been very helpful. Everybody's been very helpful. We thank you for that. We haven't had any issue with any residents. If you get the notice on your building, whichever building you're in, feel free to call the office if you want to make arrangements. If you're not going to be there on a certain day, certain times, we'll be happy to accommodate you. We just are doing this for the village to make sure that we can get into the unit to help you fix these things. And that's what we've been doing, and it's been very successful so far.
Excuse me, Jason.
Yes.
I just want to go back and please make reference to the setup we set up for the outdoor chairs by the tennis court.
Sure.
And there's a very special gentleman that we have to thank.
Yes, the indoor pool and spa are currently while they're being utilized, we've set up lawn chairs and tables outside adjacent to the tennis courts until the pool area reopens. And we also wanted to thank Norman Sacken from the Nottingham for donating a second computer for the residents in the clubhouse. So we now have 2 computers in the library, so that it makes it a little easier for everybody. We still you still need to abide by some time limit stuff, but it'll be a lot easier now that there's 2. Thank you, Charlie. The new landscape company started October 15th. I don't know if people have noticed or have seen what's happening with them, but they did so far they're doing a tremendous job because they have leveled off and staged all of the plants coming into the place. And remember, we're saving almost $20,000 with this company. So this was less money, a lot less money, and I think that people will see a huge difference with what we're going to get, because they're also, I want to remind everybody, they are spraying for bugs on these plants, which wasn't done in the past as well. So we're going to continue monitoring them, but they did start on October 15th.
When did they level?
I'm sorry. When I say level, I mean when you're driving in, right before you get to the fountain here or to the tennis courts, all of those different, all of the different plants there are now cut at different levels, so there's more depth to it, so you can see all the different plants as you come in.
About the water,
Yeah.
are you finding illegal washer dryers?
Well, we have. Are we finding washer and dryers? We're finding washer and dryers.
And what is the plan to deal with that?
This is what we have to. We have to discuss that. We have to figure out how to deal with it, but we will deal with it.
I know.
But remember, the whole purpose of going in, and I want to make it very clear, wasn't to go find things. It was to really look at maintenance, look at that. Now, yes, of course, that's a water issue, so that's something we absolutely must deal with because that's costing everybody money. So yes, we are going to deal with those. 2013 budget, we've begun the preparations. I'm actually almost complete with figuring out what the numbers. We will be sitting down, or I will be probably in a position to put before a budget committee the budget. I'm hoping this week that we're in right now, because this is everything that I'm working on right now, because we need to make sure that we do this properly. So we don't have any numbers right now, but it will be given to the budget committee probably this week.
We have a budget committee.
We're appointing a budget committee, yes.
Kurt, every year a budget committee is appointed. I already have appointed a budget committee. I haven't announced it yet because I wasn't sure when we would be able to announce it, but it will be announced this week. Thank you.
Okay. With security, we've created a policy, instructed and trained all of our security rovers with regards to giving out dog violation notices, which I'm getting tremendous amount of complaints about in the office, tremendous amount of complaints. Whether I'm a dog lover or I'm not a dog lover, it's whatever the rules of the association are, and that's the rules that we have to follow. So people who are not supposed to have dogs, which is 99.9% of the people in the village that have dogs who shouldn't have dogs, there will be action taken so that they either remove the dogs or move if it's a renter or whatever the case may be. But we are working very, very strong on that because this is what everybody is asking us to do, and it's asking us to follow our governing docs, and these are our documents that we have to follow. Maintenance. New drains were placed in front. A new drain was placed in front of the Bordeaux, as well as repaired the fountain in front of the French Quarter. We continue to paint the front walkways to the buildings, as well as entrances, and power washing the building facades. The Zurich front entrance doors are complete. We replaced the drainage from the roofing at the Grenoble and continue with others because we have drainage issues on the roofs. We are currently working in units H1F and Z10 for renters to move in. These are ones that we have taken title to that were in foreclosure, and we foreclosed. We took title, we're in there, and we hopefully will have them rented in the next week or so. So you can see that we are acting very swiftly to make sure that we are continue to take title to units so that we can bring money back into the association. We have amendments that are going to be voted on tonight by the board to place to the membership for vote. One of those amendments before the board today calls for removing the 25% cap for apartment rentals and placing a 24-month moratorium to allow for immediate rental without a waiting period. After 24 months, the 1-year waiting period will be in place. This amendment also raises the minimum salary requirements to purchase or rent by $5,000 per category. It is believed that if the membership votes on this, it will assist us tremendously with delinquencies, allowing more money to come into the association. Also, it is believed by raising the minimum salary requirement, it will ensure that we gain more renters that will be of the quality that we're looking for. The next amendment calls for placing separate electric meters for the cabana units. This will decrease the association's electric bills and place the responsibility on the 8 cabana unit owners, as all other units in the community have to pay their electric bills.
Don't we have them already? Didn't we put them?
We have them, but we need membership vote in order to install them. Not in order to install them, in order to pass the charge onto the individual owner. The final amendment provides for clear language to prohibit business entity ownership, such as LLCs, LLPs, etc. Because the way the governing documents read now, it just says corporations, but which still technically means businesses, but we just wanted to have it clear, because this is still a community where the intent of the governing documents was to make it so that it's a natural person that owns the unit and not any type of corporation whatsoever. Okay? So with voting, I turn to the board and I respectfully request that they vote on the delinquency list and suspending common area rights, barcodes, voting privileges, etc. for the few more delinquencies that we have. Voting on the pool change order in the amount of $17,500. And to vote on the proposed amendments to the condo documents to go to the membership for vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
I have a question, Charlie.
Go ahead, Mark.
If we vote for the amendments, is it just a majority vote, or is it more than a majority that is necessary?
Mark, tonight's vote is strictly on, the board is going to vote strictly on this, that the amendments go to the membership. The board does not vote on the amendments themselves. We are voting to forward the amendments to the membership for vote.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I'd like to move on to item number 8, sales and leasing. Madam Chairman.
The Sales and Leasing Committee met 3 times since the last meeting of the Board of Directors. We met on September 19th, 2012 and took the following actions. Approved the sale of Marseille 3N, a 1-bedroom unit, for $29,500. Special assessment recovery was $5,615. Approved the sale of Zurich 3G, a 1-bedroom unit, for $38,550. Closing information was not available at the date of this report. Approved an annual release for Interlaken 3B, a 1-bedroom unit, for $850 a month. Approved an annual lease for Yorkshire 1Y, a 1-bedroom unit, for $775 a month. And we approved the following rollover leases. Grenoble 1K, 1-bedroom, $750 a month. Nottingham 1B, 1-bedroom, $900 a month. Yorkshire 2S, 1-bedroom, $750 a month. Edelweiss 2S, 1-bedroom, $825 a month. And we approved the following permanent occupancy permits. Cabana 2, an efficiency unit. Marseille 3I, a 1-bedroom unit. And St. Moritz 1V, a 1-bedroom unit.
Francis, just clarification.
Yes, sir.
On the annual lease for Interlaken 3B, some boys, what was the monthly rent?
$950.
Okay, thank you.
And the rents are escalating. This is one of the highest that we've had recently for a 1-bedroom, and the apartment is really very nicely furnished. The committee met again on October 3rd and took the following action. We approved the sale of Grenoble 2U, a 2-bedroom unit, for $52,000. We recovered $581.99 in maintenance payments and $1,376 the current special assessment. Sale of Heidelberg 1Z, a 2-bedroom unit, for $36,899. A estoppel letter was not received as of the date of this report. Sale of Marseille 2C, a 1-bedroom unit, for $36,900. Anticipated recovery expected is $6,177 in maintenance arrearage, 553329 Wells Fargo Special Assessment, and 1,376 the current special assessment. We approved the following annual leases. Heidelberg 3Y, 1 bedroom, $715 a month. Zurich 2S, 1 bedroom, $750 a month. Zurich 3Q, a 1 bedroom unit for $750 a month. We disapproved an annual lease for Yorkshire 2C. We approved the following rollover leases. Grenoble 3G, 1 bedroom, $850. Grenoble 3D, 1 bedroom, $725. St. Moritz 2F, 1 bedroom, $725. Marseille 1Y, 1 bedroom, $750. Zurich 2S, a 2 bedroom unit, $750. Interlaken 3E, a 2 bedroom unit for $1,000 a month. Our final meeting took place on the 10th of this month. Thank you, Charlie. And the committee took the following action. We approved the following annual leases. Edelweiss 1A, 1 bedroom, $700 a month. Heidelberg 3E, 1 bedroom, $750 a month. Marseille 1M, an efficiency unit for $625. Marseille 3V, a 2 bedroom unit for $1,050. All rent on Marseille 3V is being paid to the association to apply to the owner's account. We approved the following rollover leases. Edelweiss 3A, 1 bedroom, $750. St. Moritz 2B, 1 bedroom, $750. Heidelberg 1M, an efficiency for $580. Nottingham 1D, a 1 bedroom unit for $800. And Orleans 2I, a 1 bedroom unit for $775. We approved a seasonal lease for Interlaken 1F for 3 months at a total rental of $4,200. I'm very, very pleased to announce, tell everybody I come across. For the first time in, I think it's close to 5 years, we got an application in the office for the purchase of a unit, and the BBT Bank is giving them a mortgage. I'm expecting 2 applications to come in soon. The Chase Bank is going to give mortgages to the purchasers. This is the best news that we could possibly have, and I thought you'd all appreciate hearing it. I would appreciate a motion, please, to accept the reports of the committee and to ratify the actions taken.
Go ahead, Mark, if you have a question.
I have some discussion.
Whatever, go ahead.
Francis, I read your report, and I appreciate your effort and think it was well-founded. As I looked through the report, I noticed that there were 2 or 3 sales in which the final estoppel had not been received as of the date that you wrote your report. The problem that I have is that there seems to be a lag between your report for the sale of the condominium and the final estoppel, and I wondered if there's a convenient way, without taxing anybody, that we could get that final report so that we know what the special assessment due, if any, was due on those apartments.
Short answer, no.
I have no control over that.
We have no control over that, Mark.
Therefore, what you're telling me is that we have to wait for the final estoppel to come in so that Lauren at AMG will get the final estoppel and appropriately credit to the account on one of the spreadsheets that we provided. To this date, I have not seen any of the apartments sold in September come onto the spreadsheet as having been finalized. Do you know if that's true or not?
We have not received the estoppel letters, Mark.
Then I will wait forever, if necessary, to find out what's happening.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome, Charles.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a seconder?
Who made the motion?
Who made the motion? Do I have a motion?
What's the motion?
To accept the reports.
I make a motion to accept the reports made by the committee.
Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Second. Any objections? Motion carried. Thank you, Madam Chairman. The next item on the agenda is to appoint an impartial committee for the election night for the voting process.
I wish to table. I ask the board please to table the appointment of the election committee. We've got a lot of our snowbirds coming back, who are some of our most faithful committee members, and they'll be arriving within the next month. And I had asked the president if he would defer naming the election committee until these people have come back on property and we can put together a very good committee.
Thank you, Francis. Do I have a motion to table the appointment? You just made it? No, you made. You didn't make a motion.
Yes, I made it.
You did? Do I have a seconder there? Marvin?
Second.
Marvin seconded. Any objections?
Question?
Question?
Go ahead, Mark.
I'm just curious. Tell me again, it's unclear to me what we are voting on at this point, Charles.
Sure. Mark, what we're doing is on the agenda was the appointment of an impartial committee for the election night for the voting process. And Francis has made a motion that we table that until the next meeting because a lot of our volunteers, snowbirds, are not here to fill those positions. And the motion is to table that appointment until the next board meeting. Do you understand?
When is the next board meeting, Charles?
The third Monday of November.
Thank you.
Okay. Any objections? Motion carried. We are going to move on to number 10. And I will, it's on the vote on the delinquency list and suspending common area rights. I am going to pass the mic to our secretary.
I'm going to read a list of units whose owners are more than 90 days delinquent in paying their monetary obligations due to the association, and do hereby announce that as permitted under Section 718 of the Florida statutes, the association will exercise its right to suspend the barcode privileges and the right of those unit owners, their occupants, licensees, or invitees to use the common elements, common facilities, or other association property until the monetary obligation is paid in full. Further, the association will exercise its right to suspend the voting rights of said owners until their monetary obligation is paid in full. The following units are delinquent: Edelweiss, 3W, 3Y, Grenoble, 2F, 3L, 3V, 2F, I'm sorry, that's repetition, Grenoble, 2F, 3L, 3V are Grenoble, Heidelberg, 2E and 3U, Interlaken, 2Z, Nottingham, 1F and 2Q, Orleans, 2L, 3G, 3V, and Zurich, 1S. I ask the President to call for a motion on these suspensions.
Madam Secretary, before you proceed.
We have, do I have a motion to suspend the rights to the said unit owners?
I move to suspend the rights as announced by the Secretary and the voting privileges of those owners who are delinquent for more than 90 days as per the list read by the Secretary, and that a written notice of such suspension be sent to each owner and occupant of each unit listed by the Secretary.
Any discussion from the board members? Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Sharon seconded. Any objections? No objection. Motion carried. Oui, monsieur.
I have a concern regarding this particular item. I myself have been a victim of it. I didn't owe anything to the HOA, but they have some accounting errors, and at one time they denied me access to the facility. So I don't know if I believe there are other people that can be the same situation. So how did you address that? How are you sure that's no other unit owner is in this?
Jason, could you handle this?
Because what we found out, which is what you were speaking of, over the last few months, we've seen what's been happening here. The only people that we're putting on these lists right now are ones that have been with the attorney for this amount of time, and ones that are not getting back to anything. They're not replying to any notices, any email, anything. They're just completely, or they're not even there. So people who are on this list are not in that situation. If there is one that happens, then they'll come forward, but we have been very diligent because the list is actually longer than this, but we're doing it by the ones we know 100% don't have that issue because of that. Yes?
Madam Secretary says 3G Orleans.
I'm sorry, stand up so we can hear you.
Did I hear 3G Orleans on that list? Yes.
3G Orleans?
Yes, uh-huh.
Yes.
And for what reason?
3G. Orleans 3G.
Yes, I am 3G Orleans. What's going on? Yes. For the barcode, my barcode to be what?
Are you delinquent at all?
I received a letter.
Okay.
And I have give you the right to my account, my checking account,
okay,
for years and years and years to remove the money automatically,
okay,
from my account, and I received a letter.
Okay, so when you received the letter, did you call? Did you give us a call?
I went to the office, yes.
Okay, fine. So what did we change this?
On my busy time, I don't have time to mail. That's the reason why I give you the right to go on my account to withdraw the money.
Okay, so
and that's been withdrawn for years and years and years.
Up until now, and all of a sudden it stopped?
All of a sudden, yes.
Okay, fine.
And they charged me another $150, and I heard that I owe $2,226.
Okay. This is a case we have to look at. I don't have an answer for that right now. I need to look at it. We're going to review it, and we're going to make sure that we don't have, anytime that we have an issue like that, we take care of it.
Did you come into the office and specifically sat down with our management people and discussed this?
I have a very, very busy time. I travel a lot. That's the reason why I give you that permission to go to my account to withdraw the money.
Well, how did you give us permission? How did you give us permission?
Automatic payment, I give you my check account.
I understand that.
For years and years and years.
We understand that, ma'am. We know this. We are not accusing you of anything.
You can't.
No, of course not. What I'm asking is, have you come in and brought this situation to...
Yes, I did.
Who did you speak to?
Office,
okay.
Your secretary, Debbie or Deborah, I don't know.
Okay.
The
All right.
person who is in the office, I gave her the
If
letter.
that's
I thought that she was going to make a copy and get back to me.
Fine. If that's the case, ma'am, please accept the full apologies of the board and the association. We will make sure, Chad.
Yes, I got it already. I'll look into
please.
it.
Okay. Excuse us. We apologize. Thank you. We will move on now to number 11, and that's the vote on the pool change order. Do I have a motion on the floor to accept the pool change order?
I do so move.
Do I have a seconder?
I just want to confirm the amount of the pool change order is $17,760. Is that correct?
Is that correct? Yes, it is correct.
I'll put that into the motion.
Okay. And Sharon has seconded. Any discussion? Any objections? Motion carried.
Can I ask you another question?
Yes, sir.
How many assessments do we currently have?
Sorry, Mr. Noel, I cannot answer this at this time. We are going to follow the agenda.
Currently have. I'm not saying something you are projecting. Do currently have.
Mr. Noel, again, you had an opportunity to come in good and welfare. If you have a question, please reserve it until Mr. Noel. Mr. Noel, please respect our procedure. Once we finish with the agenda, if you have a question, we'll be very happy to answer it. Thank you. We will now move on to number 12, and that is the vote on the proposed amendments to the condo documents for the membership vote. I will now pass the mic over to our secretary. Madam Secretary.
Very bad.
No, just the changes.
Okay. I'm reading, everybody of course will see the entire amendments in total. I'm only going to announce the pertinent changes that the board is suggesting, and the board is not making a recommendation one way or the other. We are going to vote to send it to the membership for their vote for their approval, yes or no. As you know, we have the current 25% rental cap in effect, which has hurt many of the older members of the association, as well as has hurt bringing new money into the association. So the first amendment that is going to be sent, that we that the board may approve to send out to the membership, will remove the 25% rental cap, and for a period of 24 months only, will remove the restriction that when you buy a unit, you must wait a year to rent it. At the end of that 24-month period, the 1-year restriction will be imposed again. Also, in the interest of preserving the association and attracting the type of people that we all want to associate with, part of the amendment is that the income or liquid asset requirement to rent or purchase is going to be increased by $5,000. That means that for an efficiency, the financial requirement would be $35,000. For a 1-bedroom, the financial requirement would be $40,000. For a 2-bedroom, it would be $45,000. And for a 3-bedroom, it would be $50,000. Is there a motion to send this amendment to the membership for a vote?
I make a motion to send the amendment for number 14A1 to the membership.
Do we have a seconder? I'll second. Sharon second. Any discussion?
I have this young lady.
Okay, go ahead, Jerry.
I'm trying to understand. I have it in front of me, and I'm reading. It says, in the event that an apartment is subject to an existing lease or rental at the time of the recordation, the leasehold interest and any extension or renewals thereof to the same leases shall be permitted to continue. And the aforementioned 12-month prohibition shall commence upon the termination of the leasehold interest. I'm not quite sure what that means. It seems to me that you're giving 24 months, that you're eliminating the limit to rental, but then I'm not quite sure. At the end of that 24 months, then there seems to be a 12-month prohibition commencing, and it's not clear to me what that means.
Well, it means, Jerry, basically after the 24 months, we revert back to the 1-year waiting period for a new lease.
What about the unit that was rented for those 2 years? Does that unit have to be abandoned and not rented for that next year?
No, if it's a rollover, then it just continues. That change only applies to a new lease.
So doesn't interfere with those who have rented it in the 12-month previous period that continue to rent?
That's correct. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any objections? The motion is carried. We will take questions only after the vote, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm sorry? Madam Secretary, can you read the Second Amendment?
The Second Amendment is a proposed amendment to provide that for any apartment not separately metered for electric utility service, including the apartments located in the Cabana building, the association shall have the right to cause the installation of separate meters for such service.
Do we have a motion on the table to accept this amendment, to go to the membership?
I so move.
Do I have a seconder? Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carried.
The final amendment to be sent to the membership if the board approves is that only natural persons may be an apartment owner, and ownership of any apartment by a corporation, limited liability company, limited partnership, or any other type of business entity shall be prohibited.
Do I have a motion on the table?
For the record, I motion that Article 12, Section A2 be amended as described and sent to the unit owners for approval.
Do I have a seconder?
Also second.
Any discussion? Any objections? Motion carried. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now call on the board to, do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Do I have a, okay, do I have a seconder?
Second.
Marvin, any objections? No objections, motion carried. Ladies and gentlemen, the formal part of the meeting is over, and we will open the floor to some questioning. All right, yes, ma'am. Please stand up so we can hear you.
My question is on that amendment, when you are suspending the 25%, are you going to issue or suggest a number that it would be raised to, or leave it open-ended?
Ma'am, the amendment, it actually says that you, the membership, will or will not eliminate the 25% completely. The board, in its discussion, thought that any ceiling, artificial ceiling that we put on, whether it was 30 or 50 or 60 or 70%, was artificial, and that it would be reached very quickly, and that we would be presented with the same situation that we're sitting now with the 25. So it was decided that we would eliminate the 25%, no cap on rental. However, delay the requirement for the 1 year wait period for 2 years. That way we can invite some of the residents that are in tough financial situations that this amendment can relieve them with, and invite more investors to come into the village. However, we did put something in there to protect us. We are saying, let's raise the requirement by $5,000. That way we'll be able to attract individuals that can afford the lifestyle that the village is presenting them.
I just want to add that the 4-unit limit is still intact. And we believe that's an important limit. No individual may own more than 4 units.
Okay. Mark? Hello, Mark? Yeah, the meeting is over, buddy. Yes. No, I do not. I'll call you in the morning, Mark, okay? Thank you, bye.
Yes, we're going to be sent 25% cap. The Secretary, Madam Secretary said earlier that we accept, right now are giving loans to buy units. Yeah. There is any discrepancy. I believe usually that require that we have certain rental cap on rental to finance those units. Do you see any discrepancy?
No, Mr. Noel, I think this is a, Steve, please sit down, it's very distracting. Please, Steve, please. There is some misinformation about what banks look at. Banks do not, Sharon, please correct me if I'm wrong, banks do not look at rental rates, how many rentals we have in a condominium project. What they look at is delinquency rate. Is that correct? Yeah, so most banks will look at the delinquency rates, all right? It seems to us, both Francis and I and Marvin, that, ladies and gentlemen, please, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. What's happening right now is banks are starting to realize that they can no longer determine whether they're going to lend money to individuals that come into condominiums based on delinquencies. The delinquency rate is so high that now they're looking at the individual's ability to pay. That's what they're looking at now. And thank God, because that's going to help all condominiums associations attract more people into the village. If you can come now, and if you don't have the cash to put down $40,000, $50,000, or $60,000, you can go to a bank now and they will mortgage. That's good news, based on your ability and your credit.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind for the association itself, they still look at delinquency ratio, so they will not loan the association money if we have a high delinquency ratio, because we depend on the unit owners to repay that loan.
That's correct.
So just to clarify, some banks are now solely looking to the unit owner's creditworthiness to grant a loan to buy a condominium, and more banks are not looking at the association's delinquency rate for individual loans. But for a condo to get a loan, its delinquency rate is still relevant.
Definitely, and on the individual, they've raised the bar as well. So if the condo has a high delinquency ratio and they're going to lend to you as an individual, you better have a great credit score and a good enough income to support. So.
But it's a start.
It's a start.
I have another question. So regarding the assessment, I asked you earlier how many assessments do we currently have. I'm not talking about budgeting assessment. I'm talking about.
Okay, we have two assessments. We have the old Wilma assessment that's still going on, that I believe goes on until 2018. Is that right, Madam Secretary? And we currently have the cash assessment that commenced on the 7th of October and runs for 4 months. That's the only assessment the village has at the current time.
I heard there's an SBA loan actually that is still covering the $25 SBA loan.
Sorry?
I heard that there's still $25 SBA loan that we
SBA loan was paid off in 2009.
I heard from some owners this.
No. We have no other assessment. We have two assessments: the Wilma loan and the current assessment.
Now, my question to you is: we have the 2008 assessment. We have the current assessment. We have regular maintenance. And how do you expect people to cope with that? And let me finish. You said there's no, I believe I heard as well, there's no arrangement for unit owners. I talk to many owners, okay? I know there's no for them to own that when a current mess. I believe it's the board and management company. So if those people, they've been paying the dues, okay, for quite some time, now they cannot cope with this current cash assessment. And I believe I heard it from you. You said there's no arrangement that can be made.
Mr. Noel, we have dealt with this question for many weeks, and let me make it very, very, very clear. This association has not had a penny increase in 7 years. This board, unpopular decision as it was, needed to take this decision for the livelihood and survival of the association.
So do you take into consideration those people who are in a fixed income? Let's say, most of people here, they are on fixed income. They have two things they paying. If sometimes I have a mortgage myself, and I have the current assessment, I have my regular maintenance, so it's a lot to cope with. Okay.
Mr. Noel, again, let me say, Mr. Noel. Mr. Noel, hold on, Mr. Noel, please step forward. I give you the mic. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I talk loud enough. Do you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Noel. Go ahead.
No, my question to you. So if those people, we let them go, let's say we foreclose on them, that will be more stress for me even though I believe you would assess me again because those people, you let them go into foreclosure, you don't get that money. So you have to recoup it with the current owners. That will be even more pressure for us who are actually trying to pay. So how do you cope with that?
I'll answer from my point of view on this. Due to decisions over the last 7 years, the association is in a position where it needs money. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Either we get the money or we go bankrupt. There's only two choices. There's no wiggle room in the middle. Either we get the money to pay our bills or we go bankrupt. We've determined that bankruptcy is a situation we need to avoid at all costs.
So we won't let the IB go bankrupt, but we can bankrupt those people. We can bankrupt. So that's
May I finish my comment?
Come on.
Okay. The association needs the money to continue paying its bills. And in an association, the only source of income is us, is the membership. There is no other source of income. We can't print money like a government, and in our current situation, we are unable to borrow it. So there is only one source, you, and you, and you, and you, and me, and everybody here. So there is no other choice but to assess, for me to pay my share, to make sure that where I live stays healthy. There's no other choice. So some people are going to experience hardship. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Some people are going to experience hardship. But for the entire association to exist, for my home to stay the way it is, for me to continue living in this place that is called International Village, that I care a lot about, I am willing to take money out of my pocket. And for the record, I'm on fixed income, and this hurts me like crazy, but I choose it. I want to live here. I love this place, so I'm going to go through whatever hardship I go through, and I'm going to pay the money. And it's up to each individual to make their decision whether or not they're going to part. Each individual unit owner has that choice. They can choose to participate or not. To protect the association, if the unit owner, if any one of you chooses not to participate, we have no choice but to do everything in our power to protect the association's interest. And yes, again, some people are going through hardship. There's nothing the association can do about that situation. We have to look out for the good of the whole.
So I'm not saying, please note, I sent my first share, okay? I'm saying those people who cannot make the payment is any way, there is any way to help those people, okay? Some type of arrangement. Is there a way? Okay, is there? I'm not saying so for them to not pay the full. Okay, I'm saying if there is a way to help those people.
Noel, I know as a banker, again, we're all on fixed incomes. I know I'm doing my part. As a banker, I've sat in this office or in this, whatever we call this, on several occasions. And I've had a full house talking about 0% interest credit cards. This is not something an association would usually do. You can't put an assessment on a credit card, but you know, Jason and his team have found a way for us to do it. I can tell you right now, 90% of the people that sat in this room that I spoke to that was having a hardship got approved for my credit card, and they have that credit card in hand right now. They're paying it. I mean, it's 0% for 12 months. That eliminates a small piece. And I understand what you're saying, because we're all in the same boat. You know, I'm paying my assessment on my credit card as well. Because guess what? We just don't have the money sometimes. It doesn't matter if I don't. But listen. I don't have a mortgage here, but I do have other responsibilities. You know, I do have a mortgage, not in the village, but I do have a mortgage elsewhere. So I too, and I'm a single mother. So I understand what you're saying. I have a lot of people that came to me and said, Sharon, they reached out to me, I'm having a hardship. Guess what? I brought it to the village. Guess what, guys? Find a way for some of these people to be able to put it on a credit card. It's not something that's usually done. So that's just us doing our part. It might be small, but it's helping right now about 30 residents that was having a hardship.
Steve, go ahead.
The amendment pertaining to the metering of the Cabana building. Where does the tea shop play into this equation? Are they paying their share, or are we paying their share?
All non, if you read the amendment, Steve, you'll see that it says all units or all property currently not paying for electricity will need to pay for their electricity.
That answers my question.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Here I am again. Okay. Mr. Joey.
Yes, ma'am.
President.
I am.
Okay.
Sometimes I wish I weren't.
My apartment since 2001. I never owed any penny maintenance. Like I said, withdrawn the money from my account for years and years and years since I've been here. So now, I sent my check already. So what I'm gonna do with this bill here now, and I have to continue to pay you the maintenance.
We are going to look at that. We told you already, I already said that we apologize for that.
They sent my name on collections. This is a collection agency who work up the association.
Okay. We will correct that for you tomorrow. Okay. If it's incorrect, and I believe it is correct, as you say tonight, we will correct that tomorrow. Yes, Mr. Levy? Okay. Mr. Noel, please. Yes, Mr. Myers. Gosh.
Hi, my name is Doug. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. To raise, what did you say?
Go ahead, Doug.
You're very rude, sir.
Doug.
You are.
Doug, please, just
shut up.
Doug, just say what you need to
You
say.
heard me. I said shut up.
Doug, just say what you need to say.
To raise the rental income requirement, 5,000 across the board, is not only really unfair, which I'll get into it in a second, but it's also going to cause a major hardship for owners. Let me explain why. Right now, first of all, if you raise 5,000 on a studio, like an M unit, where people are paying $500–600 a month, and you raise the same 5,000 on a 2-bedroom where the income now is 40,000, the percentages isn't fair. You're raising 5,000 of 30,000 is 1/6. It's only 1/8 of a 2-bedroom. That's number one. So it should be proportional. Second of all, with the hardship now, with with paying the assessments. And the 25% rule, that a lot of people haven't been able to rent their apartment. If you take the majority of people who live in this area, I'm talking about firemen, policemen, teachers, most of those starting salaries do not come up to $40,000. And a lot of those positions, they start out per diem, so they don't get the full hours. So people who want to live in a one-bedroom apartment, who are making $35,000 or $36,000, now they can't. And the people who are paying $650, who can afford making $30,000, I have many tenants who make about $30,000, $31,000, and they're paying $750 for an M unit. And they can afford it because they want to live here and it's a high priority for them. Now we're going to take a lot of those good people who have been living here for years and make it impossible for them to rent. This is not the right time for that amendment to go through. It's a hardship and it's unfair. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call an end to... oh, Stuart, stand up and give us a question.
Quick question. When are the amendments going to the unit owners?
They are going to go very shortly. We have a very specific timetable that needs to be done.
So in the next couple of weeks then?
In the next couple of weeks, 10 days, correct.
Okay, gotcha.
That's right. And it's up to you. This is only a recommendation brought by the board. It's up to the membership to vote yes or no. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to see a lot of new faces. Hopefully, you will heed our messages and see you next month. Thank you. Good night.